The title of this video is I Own Nothing. I don't own anything. That's the title. Just came back from the desert, spending a couple of nights in the heat, and now in the hotel. And I think one of the reasons why I thought that I don't own anything is as I came back, I made a little lunch, vegetables and trout in the can. It tasted really good. That's it. Living in the desert, in the heat, doing nothing but just sitting until the time to come back to check into the hotel. Yesterday too, it was so hot. By noon, we were hiding behind the rock, and wind blows through little channel, and the shadow get less and less, getting. And finally, at 12:30, we went out to go down to the city, the town, looking for a quiet, cool place. So living in the desert just 2 days, 2 nights, or 3 days was a great experience. At the end, I ate up pretty much everything, and the chili bean, they call it, ice chest, almost nothing left, and I was picking up some spinach. And when I was eating, I felt like, yeah, I don't own anything. Life itself is nothing to do with a possession. It's kind of obvious. Living being feel alive, not because of the money in the bank, because you can only feel in this moment. I use the term waku waku, life energy pouring like a fountain. That's what I felt strongly when I ate that little piece of bread and the fish. Happy to be alive, not in the heat. And maybe some biased opinion that I may not feel like I own anything. I don't own anything. But I feel like it from the day when I worked for Toshiba in Japan. My salary was $300 a month. I don't know, somewhere around there, long time ago. But the money was not that important, so I didn't pay much attention. That's how many years ago? 50 years ago. In any case, I'm at the retirement age. But I learned this from Maori people too, that anything you own goes back to the nature. It makes total sense. You're alive because of the nature, what's around, and you become nature at the end of your life. And you don't possess anything. Legally, you can claim some, right? But I just don't feel like it. Maybe I was weird from younger days, but I didn't want to be living for the sake of money. And having said that, I was happy to accumulate some wealth, later in my life, as if to prove I can do something. But even flying in the business or first class or big hotels, and I didn't feel right about it. There's something fake about it. And I always liked the nature. Actually, I live more like a minimalist. If anybody listens to my story in New Zealand, especially catching fish, picking up some of the from things from the ocean and from the garden, the veggies, and it was fun to be creative. There is the program, I think History Channel, called Alone. That's the reality show of people living in the cold environment, how long they can survive. I enjoy that, for them to be showing their creative ideas and dealing with this difficulty. And my time in the desert, it's only a couple of days, 3. Nothing to be proud of, nothing to be compared, but still in the heat of the sun. And then in the nighttime, I could see the sky full of stars. And that sensation was wonderful. One thing I thought is this, that people carry those watch to monitor how they sleep and all of that. The blood pressure, the heart rate. And it just popped up in my mind when I was watching the star, and I was just amazed how infinite it is. And me, so finite, that just a tiny bit of a life living against the infinite. I was absorbed. And if you are conditioned to have the watch to tell you that you're not sleeping, you may be feeling like you should go sleep or something, but who cares? There's a sense of something connecting to the nature beyond the constraint of mind, which may say you are supposed to do this, supposed to do that, supposed to have money, supposed to have a good blood pressure and heart rate. I agree with, it's all good, but you get caught up in it. And I really enjoy the space, the time I had in the desert. You have to do your best to control so that you don't waste your energy and not dehydrate. Be smart every moment. Sunburn, moisture, everything. Anyway, back to this. I don't know anything. I think it's also connected the notion, if you look into the spiritual matter, no self. We talk about ego, selfishness, whatever. But like the case of the sky full of stars and me. So small tiny bit of existence. It's ridiculous to fight against, play with the ego. I guess that's the spiritual orientation of you in the mind, which has limitation I keep talking about. That's one dimension, one universe, and there's an infinite universe out there in the nature. The relationship, if we are busy in mind, we don't see it, but if we relate to that, like watching stars or how limited you feel in the desert, with whatever you've got doesn't mean much. And the notion of waku, the bubbling sense of life, is life. And to rediscover that by just eating bits of the fish from the can, It's a great reminder of life as it is, and the life in desert was as it is. And I look myself like watching myself in the mirror. I call it mirror mind. And this talk, looking at me in the camera, which I don't usually do that because I'm lazy, but I thought I might want to look at myself when I talk. Me talk, look at myself. Mirror. And that also reminded me of Eckhart Tolle's story of his awakening. When he had the difficulty of almost committing suicide, he questioned, how can I stand this myself? Or something like that. Then it triggered him. I cannot stand with who I am. There are two me, I, and the other myself. That made him to shift, going out of the dimension of only in the mind space to get out of it. I had some similar experience in meditation, and in Zen they talk about who are you before your parents are born, something like that. What is origin or true self? And that's the Koan. And perhaps meditation may help trigger such jump from the limited self to the bigger self, or true self, or Eckhart Tolle's case, or desert experience. I remember this TV program, Alone. This lady was leaving after, say, 90 days of being in that harsh environment. I remember her saying she enjoyed every minute of the time under the difficulty. I like that. Living the fullest, not based upon the bank account. Let's be a childlike space in a way of curiosity and exploring and inquisitive, having fun, be alive. And I think that was what Daisetsu was talking about, Daisetsu Suzuki, childlikeness, the importance of it. And the other day I was reading Matsushita, he was saying about the same thing because of this notion of snow mind, meek mind. And the point is that he was referring to the Garden of Eden, that you revisit that state of childlikeness, open-minded, not to be confined and cornered into some small space and live in that space. So this was a point of my reflecting the time in the desert. And 100 degrees heat. I saw a road runner passing by, and a squirrel coming by. A great experience. I appreciate the time. And I may revisit this, I said, and I may want to reconfirm. I don't own anything. Totally nothing. Everything is from the beginning out there, We're just passing by. Make a little contribution, but be humble, be happy with what we've got, enjoy the moment. Appreciate that we live this life. Thank you.